I'm Richard Marks, and I'm a full-time entertainment transactional attorney. I make deals every day for productions and for individuals. I'm in the trenches,
I don't think I saw
negotiating and then making sure the contracts reflect the deals. And
this guy goes
I'm
to
very
war.
much distinguished from the other side's expert, who is not an attorney, who's not in the trenches making deals, is not in that day-to-day process.
And are you familiar with the testimony
What an introduction.
of Catherine Arnold in this matter?
Yes.
What a fucking
Have you
introduction.
been asked to analyze that testimony and provide opinions in response?
Holy
Yes.
shit.
And generally, what are those opinions?
Well, my opinions are that she's very slick and smooth, but she's not an expert in deal making. Her assessment of damages is built on nothing, and it's wildly speculative.
Are you familiar with Ms. Arnold's opinion that it's customary for an actor to renegotiate the fee for a subsequent picture option in a multi-picture contract when a film is successful?
Maybe if there's a star.
Yes, I heard that opinion.
And are you also familiar with her testimony that under those circumstances, an actor will renegotiate a 50 to 100% increase?
I heard
in
that
salary
opinion.
for the next optional film?
Yes, I heard her say that.
Do you agree with those opinions?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
There it is.
Well, what we're dealing with in this case is a test option agreement. And that's an agreement. It's a multi-picture agreement. And it's the nightmare for people like me. The test is going to take place, let's say, for 10 actors the next morning at 9. And you have to fully negotiate a contract that might cover 4 movies and have it signed before they're allowed to test, so that if they're chosen for the part, we have the full contract.
That sucks.
There's no renegotiation.
That's the trenches.
So you've got a contract for a multi-picture deal. It's usually a franchise, and
Those are the trenches.
you negotiate the first movie. And normally, if they get the part, they're the chosen one. They're the star's born moment, if you will. They get the part. Normally, their salary is inflated from their normal salary, because now they're going to play a character that could go on for 4 movies.
Makes sense.
In this case, Ms. Heard's first salary when she got the part was $450,000. If Warner Brothers and DC Comics decided to make a next movie, they could recast her. They had no obligation. All they had was an option. But if they did cast her up front, that they had agreed to more than double her salary.
They did.
2.25 times to get to the $1 million.
Yeah.
These are large bumps, if you will.
Tremendous.
If an actor is on a series, say,
Mega bumps.
they go, and they have 5 options. They go up in increments of 5%, 10%, 20%.
Okay.
Not these multiples that you see in a test option agreement. And that's one of the reasons that they aren't renegotiated normally. They are in some instances, but not normally.
What's the significance of the test part in a test option agreement?
Okay.
The test significance is that an established actor usually wouldn't test. They'd be offered the role.
Right. Makes sense.
Ms. Heard was in a group of actors that needed to be tested to see if the studio wanted to hire them.
Not
And then
established.
if they hired them, they would be locked up for potentially 4 movies at very lucrative increases, because after Aquaman 1, she gets to $1 million. Aquaman 2, she gets to $2 million. And Aquaman 3, you get to $4 million. These are unheard of bumps if you're going on a normal career and trying to increase your salary by increments.
A normal career.
In your experience, what is customary for negotiations of multi-picture deals?
Well, I think what happened in this case was customary for negotiation of multi-picture deals. And by that I mean that you assume success. The reason you go from the first Justice League movie where Miss Heard played Mira the first time, the reason you more than double her salary is you assume success.
Yeah.
So you've already built in the bonus that Miss Arnold was referring to, a renegotiation, if you will, for the third movie. Instead of doubling her salary, Miss Arnold said it would only be fair to quadruple her salary.
Of course.
And that's just not the way these idiosyncratic contracts work. They're a very small portion of the contracts we deal with.
So yeah, of course.
Are you familiar with Ms. Arnold's opinion that Ms. Heard's salary for Aquaman 2 could have been renegotiated to around $4 million?
I am.
Do you agree with that opinion?
No.
Why not?
Well, as I've said, that would now be after a healthy first payday. It's more than doubled, and now it would be quadrupled. That's not the way it happens. Walter Hamada, who is the president of that part of the studio, said it doesn't happen. They're not going to do it.
Right.
Miss Arnold, for some substance, says, well, Jason Momoa got to do it, but she doesn't give us any of the details. We know that Jason Momoa was in a movie before the Justice League. He played Aquaman in a movie not with Miss Mira in that movie. So he had a history before the first movie with Amber Heard. He played Aquaman.
That's true.
We don't know what his contract, the state of it was when you got to Aquaman 2, and she says, unsupported, that he renegotiated. We're not sure what he renegotiated to. But I can say that at the end of the option period, when you've only got one option left, and you want that star in more movies, you may renegotiate, but it's not a gratuity. It's, we'll give you more for the last option if you'll give us 3 more options. It's a give and
makes
take.
Sense. Yeah, it actually makes sense.
Unfortunately, Miss Arnold didn't give us any of that background or those building blocks. And then I think yesterday she said, and the other actors renegotiated. And again, we don't know their salary history. We don't know their contracts. We don't know anything.
Like William Dafoe?
She's asking you just to believe her as what I refer to as a professional expert.
Yeah. It's like
Are you aware that Ms. Arnold's opined that, but for the alleged defamatory statements by Mr. Waldman, Ms. Heard would have earned $45 million in the last 18 months and then the next 3 to 5 years?
Yes, I am.
I'd like to address some of the components of that one by one with you, Mr. Marks. Are you familiar with her testimony that Ms. Heard would continue to make films for approximately $4 million each following Aquaman 2?
Yes.
Do you agree with that testimony?
No.
Why not?
Well, again, in Aquaman 2, Amber Heard has already had this huge increase. She worked on Aquaman 2 for $2 million.
Yeah.
What Miss Arnold is saying is, she should have worked on it for $4 million.
Of course.
Which I disagree with, and I think there is reasons to negotiate. They weren't here in this case. So the $4 million I have a disagreement with. But even if it was at $4 million, or if it was at $2 million, the 4 or 5 movies that Miss Heard might get might be independent movies. They might be standalone studio movies. They might be passion projects.
Don't have the
Every
same
actor has
budget.
Yeah, a quiver full of quotes, and their highest quote is for the superhero fantasy journey.
Of course.
Their lowest quote might be for the independent passion project, where they'll defer their salary and almost take nothing to work, just SAG minimum, and to assume that she'd get 4 or 5 more movies at this, her last fantasy quote, would be to assume that those are also those type of movies.
That's a good
playing
point.
Another character.
Yeah.
And Miss Arnold says that Miss Heard's breakout moment, her Star is Born moment, is Christmas 2018.
Uh-huh.
If that's true, and I don't think it's true, those moments don't normally happen to supporting cast, but if it's true, as a deal maker, you would expect representing producers, production companies, to flock in, to take advantage of this hot star and to sign them up.
True.
And we have from Christmas 2018 to spring 20, where there is none of this activity. The Stars Born phenomena didn't happen. Miss Heard starred in one series of 8 episodes, and she earned a healthy fee, $200,000 an episode.
Big money.
But that's 5 times less than the million Miss Arnold is tossing out, supposedly based on Jason Momoa's quote. She doesn't prove it or give us facts.
Of course not.
And Jason Momoa is not a comparable actor. He's been in a series where they shot 78 episodes, 44 episodes, 21 episodes.
Yes.
He played Conan the Barbarian. He was in Game of Thrones. It's not a comparable.
Unresponsive.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Mr. Marks, we'll get to some of those issues in a moment, but I wanted to take you back for a second.
my God.
You testified a few minutes ago that
that was brutal.
Your understanding is that the last option in a multi-picture deal might be renegotiated under some circumstances. Do you have an understanding of whether Aquaman 2 was the last option in Ms. Heard's contract with Warner Brothers?
Oh, no. Aquaman 2 has not even been released.
Uh-huh.
And Warner Brothers has
that was brutal,
a 4th
man.
option for Aquaman 3 or another movie where Mira appears, that character.
Yeah.
And they've agreed to double the salary again. So it's in success, and that assumes that they recast and that they make the movie.
Right.
Are you aware of Ms. Arnold's testimony that Ms. Heard would have made several $1 million on endorsement deals, such as the one she had with L'Oreal?
I'm aware of that testimony.
Do you agree with that opinion?
No.
Why not?
Again,
I love how he says
this is a business of personalities. We didn't, after the breakout moment that Ms. Arnold talked about, Christmas 2018, we didn't see endorsement deals flocking to Ms. Heard during that 16-month period before Adam Waldman made a few statements in the London Daily Mail, I believe it was. We didn't see those endorsements coming to her. We didn't. What Ms. Arnold shows you is these non-comparable actors, they had endorsement deals.
That's true.
But she doesn't show you, when she describes the breakout moment and why she's comparing Amber Heard to these, what I call uncomparable actors, but she's making the comparison. She's saying, well, they had all these deals, why wouldn't she?
I wonder why.
But for the statements that happened 16 months later, and I guess my primary question is what happened in the 16 months, even if you believe 3 statements
destroying
in the
our
Daily
ego,
Mail, are the stake through the heart of this Stars Born moment.
Jesus. What a
Do you have an
metaphor.
opinion about Ms. Arnold's testimony that
Oh,
Ms.
my
Heard
God.
made $1 million an episode in a couple of streaming series following her A Star is Born moment?
Yes, I heard it. I have an opinion.
What's your opinion?
Well, after Aquaman 1,
She's
this is a
not.
major coup.
Oh, my God.
Amber Heard got that role. She tested for it. She could have been the other 19 actresses or 10 or whoever else tested. Didn't get it. She got the role. And she got her salary doubled for Aquaman 1 to $1 million. Now, Ms. Arnold wants you to believe that that $1 million would translate into, she'd get that for each episode of the series.
Ah, that's
We
interesting.
know what she got for a series. She got a series
For 200
in that period
yeah.
after Christmas 2018, before spring of 2020. She got a series. It was 8 episodes.
That was The
and
Stand.
it was $200,000 an episode.
Yep.
And Miss Arnold is from somewhere in a glib way saying she got a couple series and $1 million each. And I can tell you, as someone in the trenches, rarely does an actor get $1 million for a series episode.
That's true.
And
It was even news whenever it's happened
and
before.
again, in those 16 months, there were no offers for series at $1 million an episode. In fact, her only series is the 200,000. And if you look at her resume, the series that Miss Heard were in, I think the longest one ran 8 episodes. Jason Momoa, if you were to believe Miss Arnold, and somehow Jason Momoa's agent broke their confidentiality in the agreement, and he had a series at $1 million an episode.
Yeah.
If you're to believe that, Jason Momoa has had a series with 78 episodes, with 44 episodes,
$78 million.
with 21 episodes, with 18 episodes, with 21 episodes. He was in. Again, there's not a comparableness there.
No, it's not.
We spoke a few minutes ago about the test option agreement. What's the significance of the option part of that agreement?
The option part of the agreement gives the employer, the studio, the option. They don't have to do anything. They have an option to either employ you at a very healthy salary to play this role or not. They can recast the superhero role. You just have to think of how many actors have played Batman or Superman.
That's true.
They can do what they want.
Yeah.
And indeed, since there's no contract, they only have a choice to exercise their option or not. They might say, we're not exercising unless you reduce your compensation.
It's
Who knows
their
what
own
the
discretion.
negotiation would be? But it's not a contract until the studio exercises the option, and they don't have to.
What's the
Damn.
alternative to an option agreement?
Damn.
Well, the alternative is most
crying?
agreements in Hollywood.
I don't
you're
know about
hired
that.
to play the role. Or
Oh my God.
once you exercise the option, then it becomes, for that picture, an agreement like others in Hollywood. You are now hired to play that role. So
Yeah.
most contracts are guaranteed. You're hired to play the role. In an option agreement, once they exercise the option, for that movie, it becomes a guaranteed contract.
Are you aware that Ms. Arnold testified that Ms. Heard was released from her Aquaman 2 contract and then subsequently rehired?
I heard that testimony.
Is that consistent with your experience in the film industry in connection with these multi-option contracts?
No.
Why not?
No.
Again, studios don't do things they don't have to do.
Yeah.
As we heard Mr. Hamada, the president of the studio, say, you either exercise your option or you don't. They
Yeah.
exercised their option. He denied releasing and then rehiring. And in my
That's true.
experience, in almost 5 decades in the business, doing this type of work,
Jesus.
not talking about it, not consulting. I mean, I have, I heard Miss Arnold say she'd been an expert 100 times. I'm a transactional lawyer. I do this occasionally. Basically, it's not a contract till they option it, and they pick up their option.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's a guaranteed contract.
He's
and
down
then
in the
different-
trenches, boys.
Different rules apply to it.
Yeah.
In your experience in the industry, do studios typically comment on those types of actions that they're taking with respect to options?
No, just like Mr. Hamada said, they don't need to comment on it. They either exercise the option or they don't. In Hollywood, silence is the default. You play no card before it's time. And the cards there were exercise the option or not.
Okay.
And I was surprised by
makes
Mr.
sense.
Hamada under oath basically saying that there was this discussion of chemistry.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
What?
It was it was an in-court statement this morning, I believe, Your Honor. That's fine.
It's the same hearsay that you were. It's hearsay like yesterday.
What?
I mean, it's hearsay.
He's the
Rule
president.
objection. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I didn't hear.
Go ahead, sir.
Never mind.
You can continue, Mr.
Oh,
Brooks.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear Mr. Hamada say that they talked about
The fuck?
chemistry. That would normally be behind closed doors.
It would be. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because it can't help your relationship with the actor.
Absolutely.
You're either going to exercise or not.
Right.
And that was quite a bit of candor from someone at his level.
True.
And so,
That's what I said.
therefore, I take it at face value. I think he felt that he was under oath and he was telling the truth, but it wouldn't
Objection,
be.
Your Honor, is.
I'll sustain the objection.
He was going on. He was
Mr.
going
Marks,
on.
are there
That's fair.
circumstances where a studio would be more likely to say something about not using an actor again in a franchise?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are those circumstances?
Once they've exercised the option, once the contract is guaranteed, the studio still has the right to pay the actor but not play them, pay or play them. And
I didn't know that.
that is a rare condition because you've hired the actor,
Yeah.
you've got to pay them, but you say, go home, we're recasting. In
Damn.
that situation, after you've exercised the option and the contract is guaranteed, if you pay off the actor, that's normally commented on. That becomes
No, I didn't even know
a
that.
bit of information
Huh.
because it's not normal.
Okay.
Is that circumstance different from Ms. Heard's contract with Warner Brothers for the Aquaman movies?
It makes sense. Yeah, go away.
Ms. Heard's contract, again, it was just an option. Either we exercise it or we don't. And if we exercise it, she's in the film. If we don't, she's not.
Right.
Until we exercise it, we have our right to recast or not make the movie. And even after we exercise it, we'd still have a right to recast and not make the movie. We just have to pay her salary.
Damn.
Do you understand that Ms. Arnold compares Ms. Heard's career trajectory with that of other actors, including Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, Zendaya, Ana de Armas, and Chris Pine?
I heard that.
And what's your opinion of those actors as comparables? For
I
Ms.
heard that.
Even Ms. Heard's agent, Jessica Kay, said that four of those actors weren't
Objection, Your Honor,
comparable.
hearsay.
I believe same response, Your Honor, that it was in testimony that was played in court.
It wasn't
earlier
a
this week.
testimony.
I mean, that's not what she testified to. I mean, he's characterizing testimony that was from days ago, and I don't even think she testified to that, Your Honor.
Or you can cross-examine over.
Ah, there we. Oh, there's gonna be a cross-examine. I can't wait for
You may
that.
continue, Mr. Brooks.
Again,
Oh,
they
boy.
are not comparable. Jason Momoa was Aquaman. Chris Pine was Captain Kirk. Gal Gadot was Wonder Woman. Zendaya has been working on Disney Channel since she was 13. She's in all the Spider-Man movies. She goes by one name. Ana de Armas, when she was in a movie that they call, her breakout.
Blade Runner?
It was as a nude poster. She's been an ensemble piece, Knives Out. These are not comparables. Now, Ms. Arnold stuck to Jason Momoa, who's the most non-comparable
Yeah.
because of his history and his career. But she didn't give us the advantage of telling us what his contracts were,
Of course
what
not.
he renegotiated to, what he earned. She didn't give us any of those building blocks. She just created She set him up as a comparable,
Finally,
and
some
then
logic.
said what
Yeah.
Ms. Heard should earn, but she never gave us the salary of Jason Momoa or the other comparables. And she built like this house of cards on nothing. She showed us with her words, the beautiful clothing that the emperor was wearing, but we could see, if you know the business,
Objection, Your Honor.
that he wasn't.
Beyond the scope of the question.
He just
I'll sustain the
finishes
objection.
anyway.
Next question.
Okay.
Yeah, he just finishes anyway.
You're just speaking about Mr. Momoa.
Oh
as a
my
comparable.
God.
Are you aware that Ms. Arnold compares Ms.
Yeah.
Heard to Mr. Momoa as an actor with equivalent franchise experience?
Solid analogy. Yeah, I
who
like
was
it.
able to renegotiate his salary for significant increases in bonus.
Yes.
What's your response to that opinion?
Again, he didn't have comparable franchise experience to Miss Heard.
Yeah.
He was Conan the Barbarian. He played Aquaman in a movie that Amber Heard was not in. He played Aquaman, not a supporting character like Mira. It's just not comparable. And you can say the words, but I saw nothing from Miss Arnold to back it up.
Oh my
Something to
God.
build on, which, if she was a negotiator in the trench, the studio negotiator would say, "Okay, so show us. Where's the comps?
Oh
Let's
my
talk
God.
numbers," because ultimately that's where we have to get to, not just because you say it so. We just don't believe you. You've got to show us.
That's true.
In your experience in the industry, what factors influence the negotiation of the terms
Destroy
of a
her
film
ego.
agreement with an actor?
Well, I mean, first it depends on the film. If the film is $1 million movie and everybody's deferring their salaries,
Yeah.
that's one thing. If it's a superhero movie, that's another.
Right.
But for deal makers and negotiators, the best predictor of what the deal should be is past earnings,
Yeah. Sure.
precedent, comps. You also look at the budget of the movie, what it can bear, because if Jason Momoa's comp is $10 million, but the budget's $10 million, obviously he has another price for that movie.
Yeah.
But the best predictor of future earnings is past earnings.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And I didn't see any
Sure.
Ms. Arnold talk about past earnings at all, except the earnings in this rarefied superhero four-picture deal where instead of incremental increases, which you normally see, it was multiples increases. And then when you get on a series, the big renegotiation was when the network has no more options. Until then, the actors on the series get 5, 10, 15 small percentage raises. They don't get multiples. They get the multiples if it's a success and the studio wants to continue making
Sure.
the series and
Yeah,
they
it would
want to
make
keep
sense.
these characters.
Absolutely.
That's when the renegotiation happens.
How many notes now?
Here, even if we believe Ms. Arnold, after Aquaman 2, there was still an option waiting at a big price, double the previous payday.
Uh-huh.
What's the significance
Yeah.
of the timing of the Waldman statements to the opportunities Ms. Arnold claims Ms. Heard
Posted
lost?
sponsorship?
Well, the argument, as I understand it, is that Ms. Arnold says that Ms. Heard lost all these opportunities because of those losses were caused by Adam Waldman's statements 16 months later. So I think the timing.
Sure.
Uh-oh. Yeah, she's pissed. It's like they're trying to stop him, shut him down, man. Like, this guy, 50 years in the trenches, man. And he comes in there, like that woman yesterday, she reminded me, like, just like the way she acted, the way she talked, she reminded me of, like, the women at the supermarket that pick up People magazine and read it while the cashier is, checking out all of their stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's loving this. Talks like a lawyer. Yeah, that's because he's a lawyer. I wonder why. It makes sense. Yeah, it's just brutal, man. Like, of his expression. Well, it's just like this guy. Like, he just knows. And like what he's saying makes perfect sense. That's what everybody was thinking yesterday, too. That's the best part about it.
Mr. Marks, what's your overall assessment of Ms. Arnold's opinions in this case?
My overall assessment of her opinions is that they're not worth the paper they're not written on. She knows something about our business, but not about negotiating deals. She may have gotten someone at the
Holy
Endeavor
shit.
office to breach confidentiality.
Okay.
But she never
Objection.
laid
It's
out
now gone on the scope.
the building blocks.
Objection.
Excuse me, there's an objection. You have to stop talking, Mr. Marks. Thank you. Beyond the scope.
Just talks
Yeah,
over
Mr.
him.
Marks, can you just limit your testimony to your opinion about
Just
Ms.
fucking
Arnold's
talks
opinions?
over him.
My opinion, as someone
Oh
who's
my God.
made deals as a deal maker
the paper
for
they're
almost
not written
50
on.
years,
Oh
is
my
that
God.
she calls herself an expert, but she's not. She doesn't have the background. She doesn't have the day-to-day knowledge. And her testimony that I heard did not back up her bottom line. If you want to get those figures, you have to show why they're deserved. And again, she was constructing a Jenga without the bottom pieces. It does not hold up under scrutiny by someone who makes deals.
No further questions.
All right, cross-examination.
Uh-oh, here we go. Like the metaphors, man, I love it. Yeah, this guy, they're not worth the paper they're not written on. Holy shit.
Good morning, Mr. Marks.
That's bad.
Good morning.
He just doesn't give a fuck, man.
So you agree that studios use comps to negotiate deals, correct, with actors?
Sometimes they do.
And you have an issue with the comps that Ms. Arnold used, correct? As you testified to.
I have an issue with the comps that she says she used that she didn't disclose.
Yeah.
The comps being the actors that you just talked about. She did disclose, she disclosed the actors.
She disclosed the actors and budget figures from their movies. She never disclosed their salaries and salary history as comps.
You're not offering a different set of comparators that should be used, correct?
I'm saying if you are going to,
That's not my question. Are you offering a different set of comparators than what Ms. Arnold used?
I'm not here offering comparators. I'm saying what she offered were not comparators.
That was my question. You're not offering comparators, correct?
No, I would say that Ms.
That was it. That was
Heard's
my
comparisons
sir,
are where you
respectfully, that
look.
was my question.
He just
Motion
keeps
to
going.
strike after the-
All right, we'll strike after that. Just answer.
Just strike,
Marks,
okay.
thank you.
Now, your deal
Just
your
keeps
deal maker,
going.
correct?
Yes.
What actors have you negotiated for in superhero movies?
Well, recently I've negotiated for Chris Pratt in a superhero series for Amazon. I've negotiated a deal for Michael Douglas, not in a superhero movie, but a historical movie.
Big actor.
I've negotiated recently a deal for Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell on an Apple series.
Shouldn't have asked
Billy
that.
Crudup on an Apple series.
Should not
Those
have
are
asked that.
Recent talent deals.
What actors have you negotiated for in a superhero movie?
As I sit here now, I can't remember a superhero movie that I've negotiated. I've certainly negotiated over my career franchise movies and fantasy movies.
Your Honor, so it's no, you haven't negotiated with for any actors for superhero movies, correct?
So you would define like, I don't know, Jungle Book isn't a superhero movie. It's more of a fantasy.
Okay, so no, correct. Your answer
Okay,
is no.
all right. So as I sit here, I can't think of Marvel-type superhero movie
Okay.
that I've negotiated, although I know there's one or two in there.
Now, you testified and you agree that Mr. Momoa negotiated his multi-picture contract for Aquaman 2, correct?
I heard Mr. Hamada say there was a renegotiation.
Yeah, that's what he said. The
but
president.
no facts were pro-offered, such as he didn't have an option. His options were out. What he was earning and what he
That's true.
renegotiated to, and he is Aquaman man. So yes, I did hear there was a renegotiation.
And you understand that his salary went from $3 to $4 million to $15 million.
If you tell me that, I haven't seen his contract, and I haven't heard any testimony under oath that that's where the leap was.
That's true.
Now, Ms. Heard's contract.
Did he get more?
Ms.
Did they
Heard-
get more options for when they
Ms.
made that leap? Did they get more options?
Ms. Heard's contract was a talent option contract, correct?
God, this guy just fucking talks over the lawyer. Holy shit. Yeah, he's
And
the
you
main
agree that
character
for
now.
If there's an Aquaman 3,
Oh my
Ms. Heard would
God.
have an option to receive $4 million, correct, for the movie?
Well, actually, you would language it. Warner Brothers would have the option to engage her.
If they engaged her, she would receive $4 million, correct?
She doesn't have the option to refuse. They have the option to engage her.
And she would receive $4 million, correct?
Yes, $4 million.
Would you agree that the money Amber was making on Aquaman 2 or 3 would be her market rate for future studio movies?
I would think it would be her rate for future studio superhero movies.
Like, they have bigger budgets.
But not necessarily studio movies that aren't superheroes. That could be standalone.
Yeah.
That could be other type of studio movies.
True.
But for studio superhero movies, it would be $4 million, correct?
If I was Miss Heard's agent, that's where I would start.
Okay.
Assuming everything was equal, the budget of the superhero movie,
Yeah.
that she was in the ensemble. There's a lot of ifs to look at, but all things being equal.
You agree that Aquaman was a breakthrough role for Miss Heard, wasn't it?
It's the first movie of that ilk that she makes, but she is not Aquaman. She is Mira.
But it was a breakthrough movie for Miss Heard, correct?
For her, it's a breakthrough movie to be in that film and in the ensemble. Absolutely.
Just to be there.
And she was the female star of that movie, correct?
I believe so.
You would agree that for all of the actors Ms. Arnold listed as comparables, their career trajectory went up after their breakthrough, correct?
Yeah.
She didn't give us the raw materials to look at, but I'll
That's
take
true.
your word that all those
Yeah.
unrelated actors in unrelated films, except for Jason Momoa, they went up.
Right.
In your
As
experience,
did Miss Arnold's when
in-
she went from 1 to 2.
in your experience, can you identify an actor or an actress who's not been able to get a new studio movie after a breakthrough performance in a superhero movie?
As I sit here now, I haven't been asked to opine on that, but there are lots of supporting characters in movies that don't appear in the next movie.
That's true.
But a female
Yeah.
star in a breakthrough movie
Megan
in a
Fox,
superhero
yep.
movie, can you identify any actress who's not gotten another studio movie after that?
Well, after Miss Heard's breakthrough in 2018, she did get Aquaman 2.
Aquaman 2 was already, she
Okay.
already had the option for Aquaman 2,
All right,
correct?
so she did. Miss Heard did not get any movies after 2018, long before the Adam Waldman statements.
Other than Miss Heard, can you identify any actor or actress who's not gotten another studio movie after their breakthrough in a superhero movie?
They're using breakthrough.
As I sit here now, I haven't been asked to research that, and I can't. That would
Okay.
be a normal thing.
And you're
She's
you're
a
not
supporting
providing an
role.
alternative number for Miss Heard's damages, correct? For the jury.
Correct. I'm not providing an alternate number. I think she's been more than adequately paid.
I'd move to strike after no, I've not been provided another number. That's all. I mean, my question was you're not providing another number.
I think it's in fairness and the full answer to the question, Your Honor.
It was a yes or no question. He said his answer was no.
I'm not going to strike it.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Nope. It's going on the record.
All right. Redirect.
I don't view Mara as like a breakthrough role in like any sort of a
Mr.
real
Marks,
way.
In response to some questions from Mr. Nadehoff,
I don't think so, at least.
Discussing some franchise and fantasy movie agreements that you've negotiated with actors. Could you just describe some of those for us?
There's more. It's a side character.
You know,
Who cares?
I've had such a long career that I mainly forget what I've done, but I negotiated all the contracts for Pinocchio, if you will, that was produced.
Okay.
You know, is Coming to America the original? Is that a fantasy movie? The Golden Child, is that a fantasy movie?
Wait, Coming to America? Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, and by the way, I may have negotiated contracts, and ultimately the film wasn't made. But as I sit here now,
The 80s.
those are the only ones that come to pass. If I was looking at my resume or going through my files, I might think of others. But there isn't a deal that I haven't made.
And I think you also testified in response to Mr. Nadelhoff's questions that you have negotiated some deals for Chris Pratt and Paul Rudd. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes, these are for a streaming series.
Star
Do you happen
Wars.
to know if both of those actors have played Marvel superheroes?
They have. And
I
Ant-Man.
believe they have, but don't quote me because, that's not my genre.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marks. You can, you're free to stay in the courtroom or you can leave, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul Rudd was Ant-Man,
Next
and
witness.
what's his name? Chris Pratt was Star-Lord.
He calls Michael Spindler.
Michael Spindler.
It's like, I think there were a lot of times where people who were in like the first superhero movie ended up
Testified
not
previously,
going
correct,
somewhere
Mr.
else.
Spindler. All right. Just a reminder that you're still under oath, okay, sir? Yes. All right, thank you.
I feel like Amber viewed herself as the co-star in Aquaman, and everybody else viewed her as a supporting character.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's what it
Good morning,
seems like
Mr.
to me.
Spindler.